Hello, Year 10. The strange times we live in mean I'm not in school and I'm recording a few bits and pieces that will hopefully enable you to get on with things, but not miss your teacher too much. So without further ado, let's record and share, I should say, share the screen. First thing that you need to do is write down the title and the date. So it's Monday the 7th of December. The title is Ozymandias, and you can see the question there. How does Shelley present the abuse of power in Ozymandias? Now, I was already recording this when my computer just turned off. So some of the modelling is already on the page there. Abuse of power. You can see that I've made notes there with the words misused. And the key with this idea of the abuse of power is that it applies to maybe Ozymandias and how Ozymandias abuses his power. Potentially how the sculptor uses the power that they have to manipulate the interpretation and the perception of Ozymandias. And we can consider whether that's an abuse of power or not. That's something for you to consider. And then maybe even the way in which Shelley potentially abuses his power too. And that also opens up opportunities to talk about who Shelley was. The son of an establishment figure in his own right. A wealthy man belonging to the social elite who uses his influence to try and bring about the end of the social elite. It's a really quite interesting thing for him to do. Your introduction should follow the same methodology as we've used before. The beef. What is Shelley's beef? What's his problem? Is what that means about his about the abuse of power. And there are three things that you can consider there, which I've identified: 1, 2, and 3. The monarchy. What have you got to say about the way in which the monarchy abused their power? That's for you to develop. Give your opinion on the sculptor and what the sculptor is used to do and to say. And then a third idea is what you think the importance of the citizens are. So the people seem to bring about the toppling of a statue. So what power do they have? And is it an abuse of power, or is it something else? The clue is it is something else, and I want you to articulate what that is. So my being here recording something for you to watch in this lesson is very much an exercise in providing a little bit of a scaffold so that you can get on and do it, and therefore not miss out too much. Having got your beef sorted, they're deliberately numbered 1, 2, and 3 to guide the way that you write next. Because if I move down a touch, paragraph 1 should be about the monarchy and the way that the monarchy are seen to abuse their power. Some examples. What we must now do is launch into the poem. So I need to think, well, what's the best example in the poem of the way in which we see the monarchy abuse their power? Now, I'm attempting here to write a Janus-based sentence because, in theory, I'm thinking that this sentence will link back to my opening paragraph, the introduction, where I've made reference to the monarchy as being abusive of their power in some way. I want my writing to seem as if it's discursive. It's a fancy way of saying discussing things. So, arguably, because it's up for debate, the most famous lines in the text reveal the abusive nature of the monarchy. And I need to use a quotation. Now, it's tempting here to take a shortcut, do the old ellipsis, and abbreviate the quotation. but this quotation offers many opportunities for analysis. So I'm going to write it all out. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. And now what I want you to do is to just go about explaining that quotation in as much detail as you possibly can. So, no. So this becomes an exercise in just breaking it down. I said no there, in case you're wondering, because my wife asked if she's going to be in the video. She's not. Okay. I'm not going there. So the first thing we'd say is, my name is Ozymandias is a declaration. What does that reveal about? What does this tell us about Ozymandias? The fact that this monarch uses such an overtly bossy, declarative statement is fascinating. After that, we have the reference to religion, the biblical allusion. We discussed in our lesson, King of Kings, who is the king of all the kings? Well, if we believe in those kind of religious ideas, Christians would suggest it's Jesus, the Son of God. So what does this tell us about Ozymandias, that he declares himself bigger than Jesus, so to speak? When he says, look on my works, what works? So what does this tell us about Ozymandias? What does this tell us about the notion of legacy? Following that, we have the phrase, ye mighty. Look on my works, ye mighty. We have the capitalization of the M. What does the capitalization of the M tell us? Who is ye mighty? So if it's a singular thing, who might ye mighty be? And it might hark back to this biblical allusion. If, however, it's a collective, who are the ye mighty? So what does this personification really? What does this tell us is a constant refrain that I want you to go back to. And then the last question, just for this one quotation, is why despair? So what does this reveal about the abusive nature of the monarch? Why despair? That then should be reinforced. So there's nothing new being taught to you here. Not terribly new anyway. Reinforce it, accentuate it, add more to it, corroborate it, something's being built upon. So this idea of an abusive, domineering monarch is reinforced through give another example. And when you've done that, you've got two quotations which you fully explain for each particular quotation, then you can turn that into something splendid. So your second paragraph then becomes about the sculptor. You tell me about how the sculptor potentially abuses his power. Quotation. You explain it. You tell me the ways in which something is, that particular quotation is reinforced or accentuated or made more of through the connection to another quotation. So that way you've got two quotations for that particular paragraph. And then you can see the same process, but this time it becomes about the citizens. So this is, as I say, very brief. You're all very capable writers, but it's an exercise in providing just a tiny bit of scaffolding, a tiny bit of strategy, so that you know that you're doing the right thing. But ultimately, what you're doing is you're using all of the notes around your copy of the poem thus far to explain the way that power is misused. That's it. Hope it goes well. I'm going to be doing more of these videos. The next one will focus on London, and we'll ensure ultimately that we carry on with important learning. That's it. Thanks very much. Thanks to the cover teacher. Bye.